I'm assuming that was a vinyl.
It was a vinyl.
Why are you spending?
Why are you buying a random
expensive,
vinyl?
not like super expensive, but they're costly enough. Why are you spending
Why
it
are
without
you buying?
without looking it up on YouTube or Spotify and being like, let's listen to it?
When we were young, 2024, all album plays. They're telling us
Very many,
They're saying all album plays.
allegedly.
We at the Emo Social Club have decided that we're going to listen to every record that's being played at When We Were Young this year, because there's some that we know very well. There's some that we love. There's some that I know and love that Lizzie doesn't know. And there's some that Lizzie knows and loves that I don't know. And there's those records that neither of us have listened to. And maybe we're missing out on one of the best records that'll be played for that day. And so we wanted to take some time and review all of the records that are being played, all 56 records from the festival. And we're getting through them. We're making our way downtown. We're listening fast. This episode, this record we're listening to today is Mayday Parade's A Lesson in Romantics.
Wow.
Yeah, and let's get into it a little bit. Lizzie, why don't you tell us a little bit about the background of this record before we get into our takes and our reviews on it?
So this was their debut album from Mayday Parade. They only have one EP that came out prior to this, which was not really an EP. It was like 8 to 10 songs. So whatever.
That's a record.
whatever works for them, I guess. It was called Tales Told by Dead Friends. They basically went out to Warped Tour, multiple dates, and sold about $10,000 worth of their EP to kids standing in line to get in, which is crazy. Would never happen today.
It would never happen today.
If somebody approaches me in modern days, says, listen to my, I'm like, get away from me. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you.
This was such a product of its time of like meeting people at Warped Tour and just like handing out your record or trying to sell it to people in line, playing it off of a CD player. Like, hey, you want to listen to my band? And people actually wanting to do that. Not only trying to do that, but also people being like, yeah, I'll listen to it. Nowadays, we're like, oh, no, thank you. This
band came to be because they were formerly two other bands. One was called A Kid Named Chicago, which there is a famous one out there now, Chicago West, and Defining Moment. From that merging, Mayday Parade originally had a different vocalist named Jason Lancaster, who left during and like right before the recording because of the lack of writing credits that were going on there. I tried to find more about this because this was like pre-Twitter where you could like really look at what beef was happening in discourse. And there isn't a lot
people
out
had to write
there.
Articles and shit.
Yeah, the people wrote articles or it was word of mouth. So not a lot of there is existing. So I'm not too sure what that was all about. But regardless, Lancaster did fine because he founded Go Radio, which I had no idea about. So that was something I learned. The singles that came off of there were, of course, Jamie All Over, Black Cat, When I Get Home, You're So Dead. And then a year later, Miserable at Best had a music video release, but it was not an original single off of that album.
They play it live all the time still. So, I mean, that was an iconic song for Mayday Parade. So I get why they did it a year later. They're like, well, we have to do it.
In 2008, that wasn't nominated for an MTV VMA. It was for When You Get Home, You're So Dead, which is a single that I didn't even know about until you showed it to me a few years ago when we were streaming our DJ sets. And it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a great song. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. During this time, they were releasing different singles on MySpace specifically.
Yes.
So, and this included their own personal band page, Hot Topics page, and Absolute Punks page.
Yes.
So this album is also certified gold. And in 2017, an anniversary edition of the LP came out. It also debuted at number 8 on Billboard's Heat Seekers chart in 2008. Adobe also included them as on their best of 2007 list. And on that list, because this is Wayback Machine, so one, the layout is funky, but I also very, very am confident that this is how it was originally laid out in the earlier days. They just have like the little profiles of all the people, like their band photos, and they just list them in order of people who what came out that year, and they're like band name, album.
Oh, just
next, and like no written anything and nothing like that, which I think it's funny.
Deets.
And on there was Riot by Paramore.
Yeah.
Which I forgot came out in 2008. And on their up and coming band list also had Plain White Tees.
Yeah. Mayday Parade also has played this record live before, at least at Riot Fest here in Chicago.
Yeah.
I believe they've probably done it elsewhere.
I would imagine.
Like they've probably done it on a tour, but yeah, Mayday Parade. This will not be the first time that Mayday Parade is playing the whole record in full live. So there's history there.
Like
they know how to do it.
Yeah, they know how to do it. They know how to execute it. They're not new to the rodeo.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you what I think about this record. Before I do, we are talking about all 56 records. So if you want to know when we're talking about your favorite record that's going to be at When We Were Young, make sure you subscribe. The button's right there. Hit a like if you think that this record's great. Hit a like if you think that this record's not that great. Hit a like if you think our opinions are that great or not that great. Just hit the like button. So I saw this record being played in full at Riot Fest in whenever that was.
Yeah, whatever year.
2016. Could have been any time. My friend really wanted to go to it, and I had never heard this record. So I had listened to this record before just to get acclimated to seeing the set there. It had been an album that I hadn't listened to before. So I got into this record in full more recently within the past decade versus like when it came out, when I had heard Jamie All Over, but wasn't really like super into Mayday Parade. I think Mayday Parade would go down as the band that I have seen open for more bands that I was actually going to see than anybody else. And never really felt like, oh, they're a band that I'm super into or anything. Like I just know who they are. They've been around forever and they're on this show too. So I sat down to listen to this record again for this. And let me just say that I absolutely love this record.
Okay.
I came into it and I was like, oh my God, I love this record. So I don't know if it's just hitting me different now or what, but I was very blown away by like, oh man, I can't believe that like I slept on this and I missed this for so long. Yeah, I think that it just flows very well. I think that when you're seeing a band perform a record like this, like there are like those peaks and valleys, they have a lot of sing-alongs on it. They have a lot of the singles up at the front, which I know we've talked about how a lot of records at this time front load all the singles to the front.
Yeah.
So I do feel like a lot of people are going to go, oh, I saw Jamie All Over, Black Cat, and When I Get Home. Well, let's go check out what the other bands are doing on other stages. And I think that's what's going to happen a lot at this festival. But I don't know, now having listened back to it, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling what they're putting out here. Some of the songs that are stand out to me is When I Get Home. Obviously, like I think that is one of the better songs on this record for sure. That isn't like Jamie All Over.
Right.
Black Cat I also really like too, but I think When I Get Home is just a very catchy. I think that it just stands the test of time as a really good single from this record that isn't the main one. That's just first track, kick them in the dick, get it out there and moving on. Another song I really like is Jersey. We have talked about this a lot. Jersey should have been a single. Jersey is one of the best songs on this record by far.
I would say it's like arguably like one of the hardest also on this record.
Yeah, it's a really good chorus, really catchy song overall. Perfect song to me, like just a perfectly good song. One of the other ones that has been stuck in my head since I re-listened to this record was I'd Hate to Be You, the whole long title. We need to bring Mayday Parade was like one of the last bands that was doing the long song titles.
I was like looking at this and I literally had to scroll over the last song on this album and be like, what the fuck is this? And I saw it, I'm like, and I'm typing these things, I'm like, this is silly.
Yep.
Like we don't,
but we always say bring it back.
We always
say to bring it back. And now we're looking back at this and we're like, God, stop it. But Mayday Parade was one of like the last, 07, 08 was like, that's some of the last times when we were doing these long song titles. Yeah. So cheers to you for that. But yeah, I really liked I Hate to Be You, When, yada, yada, yada. I think the chorus of this one is one of the most fire on the record. Just it's been stuck in my head since I listened to this and I like can't stop just like kind of putting it on Spotify when I'm just like hanging out, like throw that song on again. It's so good. Least favorite tracks? Not really any, although I would say You Be the Anchor, the last song on the record. By that point, like I was kind of feeling like a little bit like, okay, we've done a little bit of this already. So it did feel a little bit like we've already heard this type of song, so we don't need another one of it.
It's like I get you want to wrap it up, but it was like, I'm tired. Please stop.
It feels like sometimes that last song is just relegated to the one where it's like if they've enjoyed everything else, you're not going to hate this one, but you're also not gonna you're not going to mind skipping it. I guess I think that's what happens with some of these. I think that this record is just super fun to listen to. I could see somebody being like, this goes on in the background while I'm doing other stuff and just kind of humming along because it's not taking a lot of your mind to listen to it.
Right.
But you also will know these choruses and it'll be like stuck in your head. So in my summary, cheers to Mayday Parade for making a great record that I completely missed in 07 and did not take you. It's very much that meme of just like, I'm sorry, I didn't know your game.
I didn't know.
I didn't know what your game was like. I fucking love this record, and I'll leave it there.
Now, I've never listened to this album. I've only
Your
listened.
first time.
I've only ever listened to this band through the singles that we have DJ'd. When we saw them open for Yellow Card, I made a comment to Brian like, wow, like they have gotten better at performing. And I've been accidentally singing them for many, many years.
Right.
And that's not a snub. It's just I've never really gone out of my way because I never really listened to them like point blank period.
Yeah.
And they really do impress me with how much they know how to own the stage. And I feel like over the last few years, they've gotten a lot more comfortable at owning their stage presence and really getting into it. So I really enjoy that aspect of Mayday Parade. Now, for this album, it is very front-loaded for me.
Wow.
I will even say, because I pulled up the track listing, you're like vibing and bopping for the first four. For the first four, so you have Jamie All Over, Black Cat, When I Get Home, Jersey. And then before you get to Miserable at Best, you have to pay a toll in the road.
My God.
And it's, if you wanted a song written about you, all you had to do was ask, and it kills the vibe for me.
Wow.
It's like, damn, I just got in a car accident while paying my toll.
Wow.
Like, that's how I feel. It's slower. I also personally don't really like slow songs a lot of the time. That's just a me thing. I try to re-listen to it a couple of times. I'm like, maybe it just didn't hit me the first time.
A little more, yeah.
It didn't hit me all the other times over. I'm so sorry. But then you get to Miserable at Best.
It's an absolutely, I know that it's one of the saddest songs you can possibly listen to. It kills.
It does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Is the thing. But I really feel the next song, Walk on Water or Drown, should have been swapped in that number 5 spot.
Yeah.
Because then I would have at least arrived at my destination afterwards.
Okay.
And I could not be in a head-on collision.
All right.
While questioning what's
Miserable
going
at
on.
Best is the song when you are like, I'm going to drive my car off the road. And you're like, I've been driving.
My top songs from this album are Jersey, Walk on Water or Drown, and Take This to Heart.
Okay, yeah.
I did really like Take This to Heart.
Yeah, I like
that
that
was
one
a
too.
standout for me too.
Yep.
Now my least favorite are the ones that are all very long song titles, except for one.
Wow.
I Hate to Be You when people find out what the song's about. If you wanted a song written about you, all you had to do was ask. And you be the anchor that keeps my feet on the ground. I'll be the wings that keep your heart in the clouds.
Okay. So you copied and pasted all of them in.
No,
huh?
I wrote it out.
Oh my God, no.
I wrote it out.
The reason I didn't write them all down is because I'm like, if I can't copy paste this,
I would not have remembered all of them.
It's fine.
But they were all just like, they're sleepy. They didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
They all kind of sounded similar to my ear as well. Listen, I love an extremely long song title like the next emo girl too, but these did not hit like I thought they were going to hit. That's what I think of the album. I think it's solid for a debut album during that time. They do have at least half the album bangs.
So that's what we think about the record. But before we get into whether or not we would see this album when we were young, let's go ahead and look at what some other people thought about this record. I pulled a couple of reviews from Amazon, from people's reviews of this record. Now, a lot of the reviews of this record are from the anniversary edition. So these were the 2017 reviews of it. So a lot of people are looking at this and saying, I am listening to this record from the anniversary edition and I already liked the record, or this is I bought this record and I don't really care about it, which is this review from N-Girl, written November 30th of 2017. The review is titled Straight to Goodwill.
Holy shit.
Love You Be the Anchor sang and thought I'd check out the song. Another overwrought faux angst young guy band. Can almost hear the crumbs dropping from the overgroomed soul patch. Promptly gave to Goodwill. Hope I made someone happy.
I'm assuming that was a vinyl.
It was a vinyl.
Why are you spending?
Why are you buying
these are
random
expensive,
vinyl?
not like super expensive, but they're costly enough. Why are you spending
Why are
it
you buying?
without looking it up on YouTube or Spotify and being like, let's listen to it?
I think that when you get the email that says, do you want to leave a review for this purchase on Amazon? And you go, yes, something's already gone wrong in your brain.
Yeah.
Here's another review. Most of the reviews on Amazon were very positive about this record. I think because most people are buying it because they already knew the record and they were buying it in 2017. So we'll accept that most of these reviews were positive. This one was by Connor Hathaway. The review title is called The Beginning of an Era, also written in 2017. If you like vinyl,
damn, that's so crazy.
And you also like crying as you watch that disc turn, then this is the album for you. Mayday Parade are now rather known for their sad, desperate sound, and this is the album that started it all and did it the best. You go on a roller coaster listening to this album, but there aren't many inclines, save for a couple. A Lesson in Romantics tells a series of events and relationships and describes in great detail thoughts and feelings of jealousy, loss, depression, and spite. It takes advantage of two vocalists that are equally talented but perfectly contrasted so that you have a taste of happy and a touch of anger. All the instruments play tremendously and everything fits together in a great, big, crumbling puzzle of a mood in the end. 8 people found this helpful.
Okay.
I mean, yes.
I mean, that's a solid, a general review.
I agree with the general review of it. If you like vinyl, and you like crying while the vinyl turns.
It must be a win-win for everybody, except for N Girl. Well, I will also tell you too, mostly positive reviews too, via like actual critic reviews. From Punk News, this is from Billy. No other names, just Billy.
Billy.
So at first it says, my attention was originally directed towards Mayday Parade by their addition to the Under the Radar Punk Goes Acoustic 2. Having never heard of them before, I was extremely impressed by the songwriting and vocals on their piano version of 3 Cheers for 5 Years. So it was only natural to get my hands on the 2006 EP, Tales Told by Dead Friends, and their newest release. While Romantics is as a whole a great record, there are, of course, standout tracks. Black Cat starts off with a chorus that brings to mind something you'd expect from The Academy Is, and towards the end becomes a high romp starring a strong guitar solo and breakdown hook of this jealous actress has a habit of making things sound way too tragic. There is more than a touch of emo on this album, as well as evidenced in the track Walk on Water or Drown, where the chorus ends, sing me a song, it's been too long since I've heard you sing. The same is true on Jersey. Speaking of emo, Mayday Parade decided to take a break halfway through Romantics with the track Miserable at Best, which emulates the Punk Goes Acoustic formula of 2 vocals and a piano. Normally, I'd complain about switching from faster, energy-driven tracks to a slow piano love song. In this case, the compliment is hard to register because the lyrics are so well written and both vocalists seem to work around with each other to provide a song that still ends up catchy, even if it is slow. So again, pretty positive. This came out to 4 out of 5 stars. And another one is from Punktastic from Catherine Black. This is actually from their 2017 release. The other one was from their initial release. Yeah. So it's good to see like how things have changed over the years. Another album has turned 10 years old and another unnecessary anniversary edition has been released.
Wow.
Oh, we're strong besties. Sometimes the past is best left in the past, and Mayday Parade's A Lesson in Romantics is a perfect example of the argument. A Scene Kid's Dream in 2007, the album sounds just as it did back then, exciting and fun, flirtatious, and romantic. Jamie All Over is the most recognizable song on the release, remaining a staple of alternative club nights. Its staying power isn't surprising given the formulaic pop rock setup. When I Get Home, You're So Dead is packed full of MySpace-era cliches, and the catchy chorus hook and high but not shrill vocals imitating other bands at the time. The joy Mayday Parade bring is based on the songs we already know and love, whether it's the cutesy ballad Miserable at Best or the bouncing Black Cat, for which the band have released a new video. For former emo kids on the knots, that's more than enough.
I don't disagree, but also it's for fans of the band already, and it's usually for the record label to make your contract get a little bit.
So this is from the Eastern Echo, which is a random Michigan newspaper that came up as like one of the top results when I was searching for reviews.
Hell yeah.
But it's recent. It's from 2022.
Okay.
And it's an opinion piece called Mayday Parade, A Lesson in Romantics, aged like fine wine.
This is a college kid who's like,
that's what I originally thought this was a college.
And gets their chance.
I thought this was a college one too, and you're going to see by the opening here. This is where I had to double check if this was a student newspaper or like a normal, like local newspaper.
Right.
As we begin the fall semester and Michigan gets colder, it is a good time to snuggle up with a nostalgic blanket and return to our roots. For some of us, that may include those early 2000s hip-hop anthems. For others, it might consist of days of being bad at eyeliner, but having good taste in music. They basically go to break down the biggest singles that we've kind of already talked about, but they did include one of the songs I do not like. I'd hate to be you when people find out what the song's about. So
no, that song is good.
Okay, I didn't like it. Here we go. Mayday Parade is known for their complex lyricism, but at the end of the day, this song takes the cake. In summary, this song is about someone in a relationship trying to move on from a wrong that their partner had done to them in the past, but it is becoming increasingly difficult to forget about. This does not necessarily have to be about a romantic relationship, making it stand out from other tracks. This song musically is what drives the feelings in the song home. The booming guitars and the pure emotion behind the vocals are what make people's eyes prickle with tears. And the overview is Mayday Parade sure knows how to write an iconic record, and this will be on repeat for years to come.
They do play most of this album out at their shows anyway, so.
Yeah, you always know, you're like, yeah. I'm going to get at least
I'm going to get most
5
of
these songs.
Yeah. So we've heard from ourselves.
Yeah.
We've heard from others. So the question is, would we recommend seeing this album played at When We Were Young? And I'm going to go ahead and say, for me, a resounding yes. I might go and watch the entire album. I might not leave. I feel like even though it's front loaded, I'm like, I might stay for the whole record. I really enjoyed this. And I think, like you said, Mayday Parade has only gotten better with time. And I would probably enjoy watching the entire set on this one.
I would probably go for the front loaded part, but I do enjoy them, like seeing them live, because again, they have a really good stage presence.
Yes.
And even with songs that I don't know from their other albums that they've played, I still have a good time because the crowd also usually has really good vibes and energy. So I would go, but I would probably see the first half and then maybe go somewhere else. I don't know.
Someone else is on another stage.
I don't know. I don't know the schedule yet, so we'll just see.
I mean, yeah, it's possible that a lot of people will be at the beginning of this set and then leave after Miserable at Best, which I wonder if that's going to be a pretty common occurrence. But I might stay for the whole thing.
Okay.
I might.
I know where to find you.
Yeah, I'll be in the audience. So that's our take. We will see at least some of this at When We Were Young. What do you think? Did you like this record? Do you hate this record? Are you going to skip them, or are you going to see the whole record at When We Were Young? Let us know. Drop a comment. Let us know down below. Make sure you subscribe to see the rest of the records that we're going to be reviewing on this channel. When We Were Young, 2024, Mayday Parade, A Lesson in Romantics. We'll see you there.